I'm DJ, the head of marketing at Entytle. And now to introduce the speaker for the day. Shrihari, or Shri as he's popularly known, has been associated with Entytle for over 8 years. He takes care of entire data and DevOps infrastructure at Entytle. He has been instrumental in building an install-based data studio focused on industrial workflows. So with that, let me hand it over to Shri.
Thank you for that introduction, DJ. So hello everyone. So today we'll be focusing on the data strategies on your install base data. So before we begin on that, I just thought of putting this statement here is basically managing your install base data is like assembling a Lego brick, right? So just like you it contributed to building a robust install-based data product itself, focusing on your industrial use cases. So while we say that, I think it's important to take a step back and understand what are the workflows and business use cases that we typically see across a variety of customers. So right from executive on the top to a field service or a salesperson on the ground. Typically, industrials and for machine manufacturers, we see that things are focused around equipment, service contracts, warranties, part replacement, service events, and so on. And when this happens, uh, we have to deal with a plethora of systems. It could be CRM systems for your opportunity management, ERP for your transactions, bill of materials where you kind of have the relation between kind of your service BOM, manufacturing BOM, and so on. And then, of course, warranty, service data, IoT data these days. And it could be your e-commerce portal or any customer portal that you have, right? So these are the different kind of systems that typically we see organizations, where they handle in kind of they are like in silos and in different verticals. But then what we have seen is these all these systems eventually this is the result in silos. What organizations do in as a part of their typical digital transformation initiatives at their organizations is they would set up a BI lake or a data lake on their end, or some of them have set up their own in-house tools where they would manage their install-based data. CRM like Salesforce or MS360, Microsoft Dynamics are also well known, and spreadsheet, of course, is a favorite of most of them. But what we have seen in real life is eventually all these systems, beyond a point, there is a problem of scalability, repeatability, doing things at speed. Uh, I'll give you an anecdote. So we have seen two different kind of initiatives that most of our customers had taken. One is kind of a big bang approach where they would do all of this together. They would set up a BI lake, they would have their in-house tool, they would do CRM customization at scale. They would basically have a lot of spreadsheets, probably somewhere put somewhere into cloud using Dropbox or somewhere else and manage all that stuff. But what really happens is these things require a lot of investment, and eventually all of them result in silos because all of these require a different skill set. Another approach that we have seen some of our customers taking is they do kind of an incremental approach where people build data pipelines. So either they would do a data lake or a CRM customization, or they would just do their in-house tools, or they would do something into spreadsheets. But what really happens is it becomes so customized that it becomes very difficult for them to repurpose them for multiple business use cases. Because when we talk about install base, we have a wide variety of use cases, and this is what we see with either of those two approaches, that the data becomes mess as your systems grow. No matter how what kind of systems you build, the noise in your systems, they grow, and eventually it leads to silos. Your integration between systems are not scalable. Even if you build something, more often than not, the systems don't really interact with each other, and even if they do, there is no single source of truth. So this is where something so this is where organizations like Entitle come into picture, where what we have done is over the period of last 10 years, we have built the know-how and built a solid process of managing your install base data. And basically, we treat the your install base data as a product, and that's what our fundamental philosophy is. So treat your install base data as your product, because this will help you drive most of your business use cases. If you are a field service manager or field service agent, you would focus more on your parts, equipments, and services and warranty data. If you are executive, you would want to look at your customer 360. If you, okay, I'm sorry, there, I think there was a, okay, I think there was some problem with my video. So the key I'm saying is basically you have to treat your install base data as your product. So when we say so, the underlying philosophy is, of all the earlier systems that we spoke, uh, each of them should talk to each other via the install base platform. So your install base platform becomes the core, and everything else comes to the sidelines. So be it your ERP systems, FSM systems, CRM systems, and so on. But having said that, these things are not really very easy to do. And one of the approaches that we have seen most of our customers taking is basically doing it by themselves, and this is where they have failed. And one of the reason is, in doing so, there are multiple phases from data acquisition to data delivery. So in the data acquisition layer, people may write some custom scripts or some connectors to the some legacy systems. Then comes the data profiling, cleaning, and unification layer, where there are so many third-party systems, and people have also written their own. And then comes the analytics piece, where analytics being a commodity these days, it auto ML is available either in Data IQ or AWS or Azure. And then finally comes the data delivery layer, where you could deliver data to either to Salesforce or Power BI, ServiceMax, or any other aftermarket CRM. But then all of these require multiple skill sets, a lot of dollars, and a lot of time. And what Entitle has done here is basically we have built a one-stop shop to do everything from data acquisition to data delivery, focus on your industrial use cases. So it could be your bill of material management, your install-based data visibility, any of the analytics which are focused just on your install base of like something like slow-moving inventory or predictive maintenance or service contract opportunities, or identifying the health of your customers, segmenting your customers by either by usage segment or by customer segment, meaning either by the parts that you purchase or by total amount of revenue that you do, and so on. So we would be covering all these things in the next few minutes. So this is what what we envision, and that's what we have at Entitle, is basically a single source of truth, where on the left hand side you have all your raw data. So some of the example could be you have equipment or asset data, your transactions related to your parts, service transactions, you have customers. Now customers data is kind of which acts as a nucleus to us, because the all the systems that we saw in the earlier slides, be it your CRM, FSM, ERP systems, there so it is the customer entity is common, which is present across all the systems. So we tie everything around those, and we call it as a purchasing entity here at Entitle, where we basically link everything with that purchasing entity. And once you do that, the access, the visibility of your install base data, the analytics onto that, either it could be at a location level or at an item level, all of this becomes so easy that it uh, then based on the persona of the user, it could be, if it's a field service user, you could look at service contract opportunities or service events or past service history. If you want to sell more parts or more equipments, you can look at the predictive opportunities that we generate out of our system. So kind of this becomes a single source of truth for us. So of all these, the top three use cases that we see in 99% of our customers is basically they need to know know more about our customers. They so basically look at the customer 360, identify what was your past service revenue trend, parts revenue trend, equipment revenue trend, which are your top revenue contributing equipments. search something in your install page. If you want to search something by a location name, search something by a serial number, or just find out all those opportunities, service contract opportunities which are expiring in next 90 days. Or there is also a notion of predictive and prescriptive opportunities to support your needs of predictive maintenance, or clear something in your slow moving inventory if you already have that and you just want to drive a campaign out of it. So these are the kind of use cases that we have been supporting and we have designed just by keeping the focus on industrial OEMs. So what I do, I'll jump to a product where I show you how we do it. So one of the philosophy while building this we did was, if we had to do all of these things at scale and at repetition, one thing that we have to ensure is even we are in a position to do that repetitively, and nothing, it should not be manual in the sense. So that's where what we did is we built our own platform, which is called as Install Based Data Studio, where we built a complete data prep and analytics piece. So I will directly jump to that. Yeah, so we call it something called IBDS, or Install Base Data Studio, which we have built for a persona of a data engineer or a data scientist, where you can, if you want to focus on data profiling, stitching, and cleaning, you jump to the data prep workspace. And once that data has been cleaned, profiled, and unified to a certain extent, you can jump onto the analytics, and the analytics could be descriptive, predictive, and prescriptive in nature. And we also have the setup equivalent of this here, just like any ERP or CRM system would require all the setup or metadata. All that is also present in an automated fashion. So we would jump to the data prep section. So basically, we have multiple set of services here where you would be, and all of these names are self-explanatory. So you get data either in form of a CSV files or Excel files or text files. So if I just go to the datasets tab, I'd be able to see multiple files. So like CSV files, text files, Excel files. So within the Excel file, if there are multiple sheets, so what it would do is it would automatically fetch all the CSV file, individual sheets as CSV files which are present to that Excel sheet. If it is a text file, it could basically uh, check the delimiter and then convert it into a CSV. And then we have CSV files. We have integration with database. You can get data either from your MySQL database or Postgres database or or from Snowflake. What people just need to do is type a query here, and they can get the data, and then it is available in form of spreadsheet to us. So all this data here, right, is basically coming from certain configurable integrations here, multiple integrations with S3, integration with Snowflake, MySQL, Postgres, and multiple file formats, CSV, Excel, TXT, Parquet, and so on. And the reason behind doing it on the basis of files is most of our customers give us their extract in form of spreadsheets to us. So even if they don't have any API that is readily available to use, they can directly expose their data in form of spreadsheets, and we can just start utilizing them. Once we have got that data, what we do is we first look at the profile of the data. So what we do is we first see what are are there any outliers in a system? What does your data distribution look like? For example, I'm into one of the services where I'm into a data grid, and I can see multiple columns. And as you can see here, there are certain columns which do not have any values. So there is a contact column. I see here 99% of the data is having value unknown. Or there is a currency column, and I see here is most of the records have a USD. So basically, what happen? The way it helps is once I have profiled this data, it helps me derive the quality of the input data that I've got, and I can also have a high-level view of this data. If you see here in this data, there are like 50% of the cells have missing values roughly. So 47% to be precise, they have missing values. Out of 126 columns, 40 columns are empty. So it really means that the data that has been shared by the customer, most of it is blank. So it helps us get back to the customer and ask the right questions, and try to get the correct extract of the data, because if we get most of the data at source and we are able to profile it, identify outliers, and clean it in the beginning of the funnel itself, it helps us derive better analytics in the end. So once this profiling has been done, what we typically do is we uh, stitch the data together by various operations. So these operations could be elementary operations like merging two columns, splitting a column, or deleting a column, or renaming certain columns, or there could be advanced no-code, low-code aspect of it, like replace some missing values across all the string columns or all the date columns or all the number columns with certain things, or replace it by a specific pattern matching. Or we could create new columns by conditions. We could create a new column by saying that if order type is uh, empty, then do something, or if order type is not empty, then do something, else do something, and so on. There's also a notion of SQL type joins where we can join with data sets which are already present in S3. So we could either do a left, right, or inner join. You could drop duplicates. You could drop duplicates by combination by saying that consider all of the columns or consider only certain columns. So I would say that only consider order type, order number, contact rank, and date. This forms a unique key, and just keep unique combination of these four attributes. Then another advanced option is basically what we see is changing the data type. In the sense, you could have a string column. Okay, hypothetically, let's say this has a date value. So what we could do is we kind of have a fuzzy matching of standardizing everything to a specific format. For example, these are the multiple formats that you get. So imagine someone gave us a extract from multiple systems, and the date format in those source systems is different. What we do is using this fuzzy pattern matching, we would convert most of those date formats into YYYYMMDD format so that everywhere it is standardized. If certain dates are not transformed to this format, we have customization as well. You can customize your own date format. You could say that a combination of DD, month, and YY, this forms a date format for my input data, and we could convert all of this into YYMMDT format. Or other option is basically imagine you have a number column. One of the use cases that we have seen from some of our customers is since they give us data from their Unix systems, so the date is mostly in form of a Unix timestamp. So what we can do is, and none of the libraries actually detect that as a date out of the box. So what we can do is say that I have the source is a number, but it is a Unix timestamp, so automatically convert it into YYMMDT format and so on. Then there are other advanced operations like explode. So this is one of the thing which is very specific to our customers. What really happens is you have a transaction of equipment in your ERP, which you have shared with us. So now the quantity of that particular equipment could be 20, but in real life, what really happens is those 20 equipments could be 20 different assets. So we have to generate 20, nine. So for a total quantity of 20, we have to generate 20 equivalent equipment records into a system so that it becomes easy to manage those equipments. So these things can be done. Then also there is an ability to union data sets. So meaning you got some initial data sets and you want to append something to it, but that is from a different source system. So what you can do is basically choose a file from the S3 and then kind of do a column mapping. So what it will do is you can map the columns with the current data set and then save it into a system. So what will happen is every time you get file from two different systems, but they are for the same domain object, you can map those columns and kind of this becomes a repeatable recipe. And another no code, low code aspect is basically pattern matching. So people could write a regular expression to either counter matches or extract matches. So kind of we have a regular expression cheat sheet within the application itself. We should say that you could count matches or extract matches by a specific regular expression. What we have also done is we have exposed certain set of regular expressions. For example, it could be email or US phone number or US zip code, US state abbreviations, or a 16-digit serial number or an item number. So it becomes easier for any of the data engineer to work on this and standardize this data. So the reason I focus so much time on this one is because to get your analytics right, to get the visibility of your install base data right, you have to do certain things at source. If there is any missing data, you may want to first know which of the attributes are missing. For example, you have a service contract data in which the start date and end date or a serial number is very critical. Using this profiling tool, it helps you identify that this is what uh, the data looks like, and then you can take corrective measures. You can either get back to a customer and saying that you get those fields. If not, you could add certain placeholders, and those placeholders could be added into a recipe format where when you get the similar data next time, these recipe rules get executed automatically, and you don't need to do that again and again. Once this data has been prepared, what we can do is we can basically ingest into our system. You can either export it to CSV, or you can ingest to database. For example, when we ingest to database, I can choose a table. Let's say I want to do something to the order table. So what it has identified based on the destination object. These are the mapping that can be done. It has automatically mapped the columns from the source to the destination table. And once you do that, you can basically publish it to database. So you can publish it. And since we have built a standard model around the industrial data, if there is any mismatch in certain rules, it automatically flags. For example, if there is a mismatch, here the source is of type string, but in the database we have something of type number, or if there is any missing values, it would automatically show certain warnings. So it helps uh, a lot in keeping the data quality good at source itself. Once this data has been ingested, we have a complete set of pipeline which automatically gets executed, where we generate the customer segmentation, we generate predictive and prescriptive opportunities. So I just jump to the analytic workspace. So if you see here, we have a plethora of services. So we have something called as a FCR, which is called as frequency, consistency, or recency. So once we have got the transaction history, what we do is we have the ability to calculate how frequent the customers have been transacting with you, how consistent they were, and how recent they were. And based on that, we can calculate a health score, saying that these customers needs attention. Some of the customers are above average, some of the customers are below average, and so on. We also have the ability to segment our customers by usage or by revenue. So what you see here is everything is available in form of a jobs. So what really happens is when somebody does start a new job, people can specify these parameters. So you would say that you want to segment the customers by number of total parts, or by number of equipments, or number of service transactions, or by number of service contract transactions. You can divide your customers into as many number of segments as you want. So typically we do heavy, average, below average, and light. You can change it later. At a customer level, there are different. So you can do it by equipment revenue, parts revenue, service revenue, or service contract revenue. These are the primary objects typically that we see around install base data and generate. You can also do it by adding certain filters only for your product line, or for certain item categories, or for certain customer geographies or customer type that you have in your system. Then we have something called as a propensity service. What it does is it generates the probability of what a location, what is the probability that a location would transact either part or an equipment or service from you in the next 90 days. So this 90 days or 180 days or 365 days is configurable. So since this is a ML based thing, so you can either use a already trained model, or you can basically train a new model and make predictions. Then we have something called as a purchase rate service, where we generate predictive opportunities. So what we can do is, so this is also like, the parameters are configurable here, where we basically, okay, it's not loading. Yeah, it's here, where we can generate opportunities either at part level or at equipment level, and you can specify a lot of technical parameters here. So these are the kind of things, analytics that we can generate. And once all these have been generated, we can push it to a system where you can view this. So for us, Entytle Insights, a flagship product, which is a one-stop shop for all the install base management. The reason I spent so much time on the studio is basically to emphasize on the fact that if you have to arrive to good da- good data analytics, you need to focus, have a solid focus on the data prep piece, on the data quality piece, because to it is really important to uh, fix the data quality thing at source. If no matter how fancy your algorithms are, if your data quality is not good, your analytics are not going to be good. Okay, so it just logged me out, so I'm just logging in here. Yeah. So here you see this is one of the customer 360. So based on once we would have prepped the data, you could basically see the 360-degree here. You can look at the account revenue trend. You can look at the top locations at a given account. You can look at the top item categories, by equipment, by parts, by locations, and so on. So this is your account level view. If you have to look at a more granular view, you can look at the specific locations and you can see that what are the number of equipment installed at that location, what is the total recurring revenue, what is the propensity. Now the propensity that you see here has been calculated from our install base data studio, looking at all the transaction history data that we had. The customer segment and the usage segment and the account segment that you see here also came from the auto segmentation service that we already had here, which is the rules that we configured there. So these are the kind of things that people really need to focus when it comes to install base data management. And lastly, we could have a lot of opportunities as well. So, for example, for a specific customer, I would create a certain predicted needs. So if I just go to any of the pipelines, yeah. So in this, so we have a notion of pipelines where we can generate opportunities at a location and at an item category or item number or a serial number level with a certain probability or with a certain amount. So what people can do is people can just filter the opportunities that they need and just focus on the campaigns. So with this, I would like to come to an end. So the idea here is basically building something that is focused only on industrials, focused on your business use cases, specific to your different persona. If you are a field service person, you may want to look at service. If you want to make more after sales service, so you can focus on selling more parts. If you want predictive maintenance related stuff, you can focus on that. And what we have done at Entytle is basically build a one-stop shop where it would do everything from data acquisition to data delivery under one roof. So with this, I would be happy to take if there are any questions.
Hey, Shri, just in time. So I think we can squeeze in just one real quick question here. I had three that have come in. One's around scale of support that is needed. I think I'll go with another one here, which is interesting. What domain objects are supported? And I believe that's a term that I've heard in the ERP and the Salesforce context. What domain objects are supported, and to what extent can they be customized?
Yeah, so all of the standard things that are required for any industrial. So we have locations data, service contract, warranties, opportunity products, price book, your anything related to your inventory management, BOM management. So all of this. So what we have done is looking at all the standard systems that most of our customers have used. We have kind of build a model specific to industrials, but we also have put in a lot of customization in place where we could add, let's say, more than 200 plus custom attributes for a specific customer, for a specific object. So kind of we have a standard model plus a fair amount of flexibility.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much, Shri. We're just 1 minute above the mark. So I think with this, we'll go ahead and close this. Thank you for this phenomenal in-depth run through of what the platform offers.